Just for my audience, fiber can be two types: soluble fiber, insoluble fiber. So insoluble fiber is the key fiber for the bacteria. So pearl millet is bajra. So that's the highest insoluble fiber you say.
Yes. So I think that's what
So pearl millet with insoluble fiber feeds the bacteria, so which will be rich in fiber content.
Rich in fiber content, and it has a lot of functionalities. I think specialists like you know that how that is going to influence the lifestyle diseases by its working and
Big
all
time.
those things, and even the gut health in terms of the both prebiotic and probiotic. This is you know that this is a new game changer, what I feel. So
Correct.
So you don't find these things in other cereals.
Correct.
So what you find here, that I think that must be properly utilized and exploited in such a way that because this game changer in the sense that you know that the type of the gastrointestinal problems that people are plaguing with, I think the fiber content in our diet is becoming essential.
Yeah, very minimal. If people eat like lots of fiber, then they will not come to my clinic at all.
Yes.
So in the pearl millet bajra, we talk the rich in insoluble fiber that you said. Where is that more commonly grown?
It is grown primarily in Rajasthan. The country's 50% of the production comes from Rajasthan.
Wow.
So especially it is grown in good environments as well as the very marginal environments. So by and large, but in addition to Rajasthan, it is Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and a little bit in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, little bit in Madhya Pradesh. I think we know these things are grown in. Bajra is grown, but I think primarily it is, you can call it's a Rajasthan.
And we know that it has low glycemic load, low glycemic index and everything, which is good. How do we convert pearl millet on the tray, on the food?
Oh, this is very important question. I feel that one has to look into that. See, one is a traditional form of consumption. Now, one of the problem with the millets, why it has gone out of the food basket is they are attached as a poor man's crop.
Poor man's crop.
Poor man's crop. So the new branding that has come because of the international year of millets, they are called as nutri-cereals. Second branding that it has got as the smart foods. Smart food means it is good for you, for your health. It is good for environment. It is good for farmers, and it is good for even business.
So let's take that.
So slowly it is converting all these crops, millets, which were grown by the farmers for their own consumption. Today's context, we need to view them as commercial crops. The new paradigm shift that is happening is that how the millets are being changed into the commercial crops, because the farmers are growing for your sake and my sake. So this has become, because I told you the nutritional problems this country is plaguing with, I think urban people are looking for some. You have put a right question, how you convert from that farm folk into to the plate of the consumer and all. So one way is how we can bring products through value addition and make on par with rice and wheat. And put it in the plate of the consumer. You know, you cannot, a traditional form of eating millets is only a chapati.
Correct.
Or tortilla, what you call in Mexico and other parts of the globe. So we would like to see that there should be a transition that should be happening from there, because making a roti is very highly inconvenient. These are gluten-free products. There's no gluten.
The millet is gluten-free.
Gluten-free. So gluten is a very important component, gluten formation of the protein, which is vital for processing, because it imparts that binding. So gelatinization and all those things.
Processing, it means you're talking about digestion.
Not
inside
digestion.
the body?
Not outside.
Outside the body.
Outside the body. So it remained as a highly inconvenient product. Now, if you want to make a chapati out of that, you need to add hot water. Then you can make a lump, dough, and then you will have to beat it with your hand. Because there is no gluten. So inside, instead of manipulating the, you're not concentrating. You see that the science of it is that how this is through hydrothermal treatments, how the starch in it gets gelatinized, and then make it pliable, so that with the hand you need skill as well as the time consuming process. So in the modern context, men and women both are working, I think you cannot so it has become out of context. Now consumer needs ready to eat,
correct,
ready to consume products. Correct. So if you want to bring bajra or pearl millet onto the plate, you should have products on par with wheat and rice, processed products, maybe minimally processed products, and bring them and provide an alternative to the rice and wheat. So consumer must be given an options other than the traditional roti making, and to where you will find on shelves the products on rice, wheat, and where the industry should play. You are talking about Kellogg's also. So I think the lot of research has gone now. From past, I can say that I represent the Indian Institute of Millet Research. We built a value chain around it. We understood that this inconvenience factor must be removed. So though it was not our mandate, we are crop improvement people. We have taken up the value addition processing and diversified the processing technology by not manipulating the protein, because protein is not available, gluten formation. So you will have to manipulate the starch. Taking the traditional cue from roti making, how you are going to gelatinize the starch that is there. So you are talking about starch has become a very essential component, not only gut health but also for the processing products. Because once it is made gelatinous at the higher temperatures, it gets gelatinized, and that brings about the binding nature in that. So then you can see that now we are able to bring processing technologies, baking, whether it's a cookies, bread, or then extrusion. Many technologies are brought into that place.
So now we are saying, millet dosa.
Yes.
Millet.
Everything, whatever you have noodles, you have pasta, you have vermicelli, you have pizza base, all the.
So I'm just trying to understand this correct. So you're saying that processing has changed to be a more convenient way,
yes.
So that the gelatinization is happening quicker and easier, so that they can start using on the daily plate basis.
So processed products to make the processing possible, the gelatinization technology was used by making use of hydrothermal treatments.
I see.
But once after it is made, the products are made, I think it is just a normal cooking. Little some tweak in procedures has to go. Millets with cooking with millets is slightly different.
Okay. I really like this bajra thing because, I love this insoluble fiber. Okay. I want you to tell us, bajra millet is a bajra noodle, or what is the most common thing that we can eat from bajra?
Now you see, this is what now the new technologies has brought. See, the one is through the form of suji. Suji, what we call as a semolina, abroad everywhere, where the particle size is being manipulated to such a higher thing, rather than the flour is the smallest size. But if you make a particle size higher than that, you can go for upma, you can go for idli, you can go for dalia, you can go for dosa and all those things. For that, you don't need make any hand that is convenience, and you need to just replace the dough where the rice and wheat are used. In place of that, the millet suji, you put it there and then mix it, and then you get all those products, downstream products. So the one is the particle size. See, the machinery development was one of the weakest thing. So these are all very many things in the value chain. So we really brought out something, how we can the particle size. Now this has something nutrition connotation also. So now when the particle size, also the glycemic index is also influenced. Higher the particle size, better. We see that in most of the cases that the glycemic index is lower side. So then we also see that while we are doing processing, we did one good thing. What we do not want to repeat the story of rice and wheat for junk foods. So how minimally you will process, how you can bring the nutrition losses to a minimum level, so that when you are talking them as a nutri-cereals or the Shriyan, which is the finest of all the grains. So it means that we will have to show in terms of the nutrition that they are richer than rest of the cereals. So this processing is definitely is made such thing. Now, not only that, when you talk about the anti-nutrients that are reported in millets.
So I'm sorry, let's just track back. Let's ask you. So there is reports that there are anti-nutrients in millets.
Yes.
Which might limit the absorption, limit the efficacy of the millets.
Yes,
so
yes.
what is your take on that?
See, I'm sure that today's content, that was the old literature in 1979, some paper has come that this is not good for children and all. Only one paper that is circulating. Now, these all grain lobbies are also there. Now, millet is coming. Some lobbies are coming against millets also. Rice and wheat and other lobbies also. This is quite popular. One should expect also. But coming to the science of it, anti-nutrients, there was I think a debate in some time ago, some 3-4 years ago, by 50th anniversary of 50th Golden Jubilee celebrations of Nutrition Society of India. There was a debate try to understand whether millets can be supplemented with for the children food. So in that there was, I think I am also part of it. I was batting for the four. Me and another one of my friend pediatrician. So we were fighting for, we were just arguing in favor of millets, why they should be doing. So then there is another group of science that has come up in going anti, why we should go, because there are anti-nutrients and all those things. But at one point of time, they also agreed and we won the debate. It was overwhelming. About 95% of the audience, especially all the educated, especially scientists who are there for the non-nutrition society, they all voted in favor of millets to be included in the children's nutrition. Because today's context, it is like a perfect storm, sir. So there are problems, but there are also solutions. So the problem is anti-nutrition. The solution is that you go for the processing in such a way that you can tackle this anti-nutrient factors. Now, whether it could be a phytic acid or other things, so the fermentation, the new techniques that are emerged out, extrusion, cold extrusion, hot extrusion. If you get into that further, then even our traditional methods like high pressure cooking, all these things are very, very important. Now, when you are talking about the fibers and polyphenols and their functionality with regard to the gut health and all those things are all tantamounts to that there are solutions where we can do that.
So I'm trying to understand this. So for anti-nutrients is there in millets, and to counteract this, we are having all these different processing techniques, cold intrusion, hot intrusion, which decreases the anti-nutrient level so that we can get the efficacy out of millets. Am I right?
Yes, very much. So it is proven and the literature supports it.
And this technique is something new in the last 5 years, 10 years?
No, it is there. I think Kellogg's are also using that. All the multinational companies are using that. Millets are not processed at some time ago. But now
that's what I'm saying. Now was in the last 5 years?
Last 10 years.
10 years.
Last 10 years we were able to tackle that. Now they cannot talk about this anti-nutrition anymore. Only those who are not aware, perhaps they may talk. But there is one micro milling process. Recently, one of my PhD students, she was addressing, and the results were quite encouraging to show that how that micro milling can help in taking the things forward when tackling the anti-nutrient.
So micromilling is one of the techniques that we use for anti-nutrient. So I'm just trying to understand so that I'm just summarizing whatever you're saying. So it's easier delivery for the audience in terms of how do we use millets in terms of a daily practice. One, we talked about bajra. Is the same thing for sorghum as well?
Yes. Actually, while we developed the value addition, the first crop which we took was sorghum. So for later we are translating into the other millets and all those things. So sorghum is much into it. It's a fair cousin. So you see the flower of sorghum is much fairer, whiter. Among all the millets, you find that sorghum is much fairer. So there are some red sorghums, yellow sorghums and all this, but it's only the pericarp that is there. But inside again the grain is all more or less white in color, whitish color. So it is very easy to translate all the technologies and make it little fair. But today's context, it's not the fairness. Whatever is white, too much of white, people are disgusted.
Correct.
Whether it is a salt, sugar, maida, refined wheat flour, or even they say ghee also. So all this white and all those things have brought a lot of... That's a phrase
called, if it isn't white, if it is white, it is ain't right. So So you say that sorghum is white in color.
White in color.
Is that better than bajra or nutrient value is the same?
See, each millet has its own virtue. But coming to the most important part of millets is they are rich in micronutrients.
Like
when
calcium.
When you talk about calcium, you have rightly mentioned, ragi contains 364 mg per every 100 grams of. It means in milk, if you have 1 glass of calcium, so this we see that in case of finger millet, it has about 3 glasses of calcium.
Wow.
So 3 times more than
3 times more.
And through proper processing, this can be made bioavailable also. Now, when you go for iron, it is very rich in case of pearl millet. I told you that where the dietary fiber is also high.
Correct.
So when you get into the magnesium, again, it is sorghum and ragi, they have highest thing. When you go for, of course, each millet has its own way of superiority where in terms of a particular nutrients, so micronutrients, and that brings a very rich array. And that's what with today's context, people are, especially after COVID, people are looking for some immunity.
Correct.
So these immune nutrients are present in, apart from the vitamins that are very required for immunity building, like B complex vitamins are plenty in case of millets.